Hello everyone, my name is Allison White, and today I will be doing my oral presentation on The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn is considered an American classic by many. In this novel, you will find friendship, prejudice, humor, and loyalty. Mark Twain, he takes his readers on an adventure down the Mississippi River with Huck and Jim, the two main characters, to escape slavery. Along the way, they run into danger, as well as some other interesting characters. Huckleberry was living with Widow Douglas and Miss Watson, the widow's sister. He likes the widow, but he doesn't enjoy her attempt to civilize him. She tries to change him from the very beginning. When Pop, that's Huck's father, returns to town, he wants Huck to live with him, mostly because he wants to get his hands on money that Huck is entitled to. Huck shared $12,000 with Tom Sawyer, and they put it in a bank account, and they raise $1 a day, or they earn $1 a day on the money that they have in there. Huck's father, Pop, is abusive and a drunk. So eventually Huck escapes and he hides out at Jackson's Island. A few days later, Huck finds Jim. That would be Mrs. Watson's slave. Jim lets him know that he has run away because he was afraid that Mrs. Watson was going to sell him to a slave trader in New Orleans. But this is where the loyalty comes in, because Huck promised not to turn Jim in. Jim also ran away not only because he didn't want to be sold, it's because he wanted his freedom, and he wanted to try to gain the freedom of also his family. So they begin traveling down the river on a raft, hoping to get Jim to a free state. Along the way, they have several adventures. They take up with two conmen, one of whom betrayed Jim by telling a man that Jim is a runaway slave. When Huck learns that Jim has been captured, he and Tom Sawyer, who had joined him, plan an elaborate scheme to save Jim, finally freeing him. Tom Sawyer also, at the beginning of the story, put together a gang, so you could say, and it had all these rules and do's and don'ts that you're gonna do, and if you did this or did that, what would be the consequence for it. To me, I feel like the game that Tom Sawyer set out was individualizing what you would call civilized. Also, Jim, Mark Twain picked Jim as the slave, of course, and I believe he's in the story. He represents all slaves. Not only that, his character is to show how humiliating slavery is. Yes, Huck at the beginning of the story seems to be for slavery, because he made a comment in the beginning, first chapter, that Jim was ruined for a servant. But later on, as time went on, Huck began to question himself, and he began to wonder if Jim should ever really be a servant anyways. Jim also became more of a father figure to Huck than his own father, Pop. He was there, he was, loving, kind, nurturing type thing to him. But also, Huck kind of treated Jim differently too when other people was around, or other white people, so to say, was around. Because, for instance, one day when they was in the boat or the canoe, it was some white people far off, and he felt that those people could distinguish him and knows that he's a black male, so he asked Jim to lay down in the bottom of the canoe, and he covered him with a blanket so that nobody would know. They would just think it was just Huck on the canoe. Also, Huck also, you know, put his life on the line for Jim to try to get him to freedom, because Huck known that, you know, if they ever find out that he was, you know, trying to set this slave free, that he'd be damned to hell, and, you know, he would be, what's the term I'm looking for? He would be unaccepted, I guess, unaccepted in the civilized, you know, world. But, you know, Huck, of course, didn't never want to be civilized, or yeah, civilized, because he was so used to running free, I guess you could say. He would fight pigs for food. He would, you know, eat from, you know, here or there. He, you know, he didn't get things easily. Like, he didn't like that Widow Douglas will ring a dinner bell and expect him to come in and eat, when he just, you know, always, I eat when I get ready to eat. But this has been my oral presentation on the adventures of Huckleberry Finn. I want to thank you for viewing my presentation. Once again, my name is Allison White. Thank you. Also, please check your email. I didn't know how to show my PowerPoint since I was using my webcam. Thanks.